Explain how banks make money. Well, if you don't know, the basic way that a bank makes money is that the bank is going to allow you to put your money into the bank, and then they're going to lend your money out to other people and pay you a small amount of interest and then receive interest from other people. So I realized that in your notes, I didn't leave the box for you to answer that question. You can either add a box like this. You would insert table box just like that, and there it is. Or you can just type it. It's really not that big of a deal. But that's basically the way that banks make their money. All right, so interest is a percentage of money earned on top of money invested, paid as an incentive to keep your money somewhere. Interest is also the percentage we pay on top of the amount borrowed when we take out loans. So in both cases, interest is going to be money that it costs to hold money in a certain place. So you buy a car, for example, the bank or the car dealer is going to charge you interest while you pay it off over time. That's a good way to make money because they can charge you interest at a much higher rate than you could make as a individual keeping your money in a bank. But that's the other option, is that you make interest by keeping your money in a bank. And so when you're keeping your money in a bank, you want to keep it at a place that gives you the highest possible interest rate that you can. For example, banks offer interest as an incentive because they want to use your money to provide loans for other people. Once again, that's how banks make their money. So there are two types of interest. Those are simple and compound interest. And basically, this is how it looks. So with simple interest, you are going to imagine. So you're going to do simple interest divided by rate of return. So imagine you have $100 and you plan to put it in the bank for 6 years with a 6% interest rate calculated as 0.06%. Here's what the calculation will look like. You got your $100, which is your original, times 0.06 times 6. So you would have $36. So simple interest is pretty simple. So every year you're going to make $36 more than you had the year before. So year one, you have 136. Year two, you have 172. Year three, you have 208. Year four, 244. And each one of these is $36 more than the year before. So in that case, interest is pretty, simple. Compound interest is much more difficult to calculate. And it grows much faster. So here's the compound interest scenario. The same scenario, $100 with an interest rate calculated as 0.06 for 6 years. This time, your interest will be compounded annually. So the only difference is year one is the same. Remember, year one is $100 plus $36 interest is $136. Same thing here, $36 interest, $100 plus $36 is $136. Okay, that's fine. But now in year two, instead of taking the same interest, which is the interest is $36 in every year, you're going to find your new interest amount, which is going to be 6% of your new amount, which is $136. So that's going to be $48.96 in interest. And then that's going to be added to your previous, so it's 184. So the difference is with compound interest, you are always going to take the new amount, and that new amount is what you're going to figure out your interest on. Where with simple interest, your interest is always expressed as part of the principal. So the principal is 106% interest, is 30 times 6 is $36. Here you take that 136 and now you do your calculation on 136, not 100. So it goes up much faster. If you remember, after year 5, it's 280 with simple interest, and with compound interest, it's 465. And that is compound interest that happens every single year. Imagine compound interest that happens every single day. We're doing one of these calculations every day. That is what you get with student loans. So people will make the mistake with student loans where they'll say, okay, well, I can buy a car with my student loan, and the student loan is 5%, and the car dealer is offering me 9%, I should take the car dealer's. I should use the student loan. I should use my student loan money to buy a car, which is technically legal, but a horrible idea. The reason it's different is because you are your interest is compounding annually. So let's say we take this compound interest calculator, and we are going to take our initial investment. Let's say that you borrow $20,000 to buy a car, and you no monthly contribution, and you pay that car off in interest. So you pay that car off over 10 years, and at a rate of 5%, and your interest compounds daily. So this is what would happen if you were buying a car with your student loans. So your student loans, $20,000, you pay it off in 10 years, and you have an estimated interest rate of 5%. $32,973.30. That is so $33,000. So it's going to cost you an extra $13,000 to do that, and that is because of compound interest and the way that compound interest will happen when you pay it off. When you have compound interest daily, as is your student loan. So interest, it's important to know and understand the compound interest rate. So here's your formula for simple interest: principal times interest rate times time, $100 times 0.06 times 6. And then your compound interest is principal, $100 plus earned interest, and multiply that whole thing times interest rate times time. So that's what that looks like. So you've got this chart here. You're going to go ahead and pause the video so that you can figure out these answers. I'm not going to do that for you. I'm going to let you do that. So hopefully you can figure that out. If you can't, then maybe you want to try something. You want to try to use something like the calculator that I just showed you. Find something like that online. All right. Two more questions here. John receives $1,000 as a graduation gift from his grandparents. Rather than spend it, he decides to invest it in a 2-year bond that earns 3% simple interest. John doesn't need access to the money right away because he wants to save it for when he's ready to buy a home in about 10 years. Is the bond a wise investment for John? Why or why not? What other investment options does John have? You have several options here that you could say. You could say, yes, it is a wise investment because there's no risk to a bond and he's letting his money grow. You could also, though, say that it's not a wise investment because why is he doing a 2-year bond when he could do a 10-year bond and gain more? Okay, that would work. You could also say that in 10 years he has time to allow the stock market to go over its swings, and so it would be probably better to put it into a mutual fund or into some sort of stock market fund. I mean, not an individual stock, but like an S&P 500 index fund. That's up to you. So there's 2 different answers there, and either one would work. I just want you to explain why. And then if you had the choice between investing $1,000 in a mutual fund that earns 7.5% compound interest or a bond that earns 7.5% simple interest, which would you prefer and why? In the way this question is worded, there is a correct answer. And so I want you to tell me what that correct answer is. But the real world is not that simple because with one of these comes risk, and with the other one, there is not risk. So you can figure that out. And then last one, in your notes, what investment strategies will you consider using in the future and what factors will go into your decisions? So answer that. I do want to see an answer to all of these blanks in this particular day's worth of notes, and I will see you tomorrow.